All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the wait, but we are back with Season 2, Week 3 of the Batty Overwatch League. And Jesus Christ, we're entering the game. I'm AJS0, joined here with BOL Destiny, going straight onto Hollywood between Sadistic, Autistic, and the April Wizards, who may or may not be May Wizards. And all I really have to say is I don't think we can possibly lose commentary as hard as we lost that last series, so things are looking up right now.
Hey, we won a map. I don't know what you're saying.
Not our worst week this season.
We can still continue to go up easily.
Amen to that. Alright, so for those of you that are unaware, this is a new patch since the last time we were playing. So in case you're not a hardcore Overwatch player, first of all, there's something wrong with you, but things to be watching out for. Ult charge time was globally slowed down for all heroes in the game by 25%. So in general, you're going to see less fights where there's, 10 of the 12 available ultimates.
Yeah, you have to really use your ult a lot more strategically this time around. You can't just use it whenever it's up and hope to get it back quickly again like we previously would see, where Lucio or someone else is ulting 2 times over the course of a team fight. That just won't happen anymore. Starting out though, we have a lot of flyers. That Farah buff, so now she can fly always, and you might see a Mercy hanging out with her to amp damage and healing. Yeah, other than that, pretty standard comps coming out
except
of both these.
Think twice on the defensive Torbjorn, something we don't see a whole lot of in this league, and there are some solid picks to deal with that Torbjorn coming out of Sadistic Autistic.
Yeah.
As I say that, Salvo switches off of the D.Va onto Widowmaker and immediately gets a pick onto Blabur.
Oh. Yeah, they're pushing a lot of damage out pretty quickly on the side of this Sadistic Autistic.
Yeah, looks like they're not quite going for a full rush. Blabur almost back to the point, but they have made it around to this back end, and Tree charging in to start this engage.
They take down the tank shooter die.
The Crystallize goes down on the engage. All healers down currently, and just a fuckfest going on the point here. But looking like it's going to be a hold.
And a lot of trades here for Death, but it'll take a while for this April Wizards team to get back on the point.
Yeah, we'll see if there's a Zerg Rush coming out here. Also worth noting that Think Twice will have to reset up a turret, so if there's a fast push out of Sadistic Autistic here, they should have a bit of an advantage. And they are working on this point, taking out Shooter Die to start with. Oh, actually, they are not taking out Shooter Die.
They do have multiple members just camped on this point, though, so if a wipe does happen, they're going to cap really quickly. No Mercy on this side. Or sorry, Mercy is almost got her all up.
Yeah, and the Sadistic Autistic Mercy already switched over Crystallized, now playing that Lucio. And this has been just good defense so far on April Wizards, and they're sitting on 3, almost 4, make that 4 ults going into this next fight to the 0 available from Sadistic Autistic, who are quickly letting the clock turn into their enemy.
Yeah, Salvo also switched off the Widowmaker onto Reaper, maybe to try and apply a little bit more pressure to the point. I don't know if he was just feel like he wasn't able to do as much, trying to pick people off with Mercy healing everyone up quickly.
And there goes Tree, gets the charge, but dies for him. But Taco's go move on, the Mercy goes down before he's able to get a res. That's big.
And Blab gets a good April Wizards Blizzard out to really keep people off the point and take down 2.
That Think Twice turret is so troll, just sitting there casually next to the cart. No one has been able to get onto that.
Yeah, it just goes down right now. I think it's surprising this Sadistic Autistic team. So natural to oh, great ult on a Shooter Die. And a counter ult to come out.
Yeah, there comes the res on a Taco's go boom. There's still a few members of Sadistic Autistic that are a long way from this point, but they're winning the fight despite being outnumbered. Think Twice trying to reset the turret, but they're caught in the quick grab concert. It's gonna pull in everyone remaining from Sadistic Autistic, and that looks like it's going to be close to a wipe for the April Wizards. It should be a cap.
that Zarya ult was perfectly placed. It caught the people in the room and the people on the roof, so it was just easy pickings for the rest of Sadistic Autistic to pick them up as Valkyrie or Zenyatta ulted to just keep them all healthy.
Yeah, that Graviton Surge was quite literally a ball of sexy.
Very aptly named, as he is playing the Zarya for all you pun lovers out there. He's just in the game, as even though we'll make ball of sexy jokes all season.
PK50 kind of making sure that no one puts up a flanker on the Soldier. I really like what he's doing, and April Wizards gave him a bit of ground, and now Tree going in. Speaking of which, when the hell did this guy pick up tank play? His Reinhardt charges have been on point this map.
Yeah, he looked really comfortable on that Reinhardt. He's doing a lot of charging, a lot of smashing.
Yeah, and there's the hammer down. Gonna be a 3K fest, but there's a nice res right as Tacos Go Boom dies there. But I don't think that's gonna matter. It just reses everyone back into their deaths as this cart keeps moving.
Yeah, that was pretty much a wipe and a re-wipe, except for the two people coming in late that had died from the previous hammer dropping out of tree.
Yeah, that was really close to one of those quick play when I want somebody to feel embarrassed about where they died and let them die again.
Yeah.
Watch out, here comes the Blizzard onto the cart, but it's instant tranquility coming over the Valkyrie. Shouldn't end up being any deaths here for Sadistic Autistic, as Salvo gets a nice zoning Reaper roll, picks up a 2K in the process as well. And Labour going down on this point should be the second point cap here. Only a meter away and everyone steps off the cart. There we go, capped by Sadistic Autistic.
Oh, and Shooter Die going for the very aggressive ult and takes down no one. That's going to hurt, as like we said earlier, these ults charge very slowly. It also doesn't help that both Reinhardts are using the same skin, so something you'll just have to watch out for Shooter Die at Tree. It looks like Labor switched over from the Mai to the Diva and instantly gets taken down as he's trying to apply pressure from up above.
Yeah, I like that switch. I don't feel like Mei is going to, with how she had additional all-time nerf on this patch, it's going to be really hard for her to get another Blizzard before the end of this game, most likely.
Yeah.
Whereas Diva was fucked and could have impact even in a no-ult situation.
And Salvo takes down Think Twice, who's up top.
Oh, and there's a big Graviton Surge on the fall, and Sexy the Sadistic Autistic is unloading into that surge. Labour trying to make a miracle happen on the back line of this play, but it's not looking good for him as he loses the mech and then loses his life.
Yeah, and Crystallize ulting to keep everyone healthy and push. I'm surprised they don't have 3 people on the cart.
Ooh, but there's Think Twice picks up a 2K with his ult. Buys a bit of time.
I think Lucio ult needed to ult a little bit earlier, even though he was farther away. He could have kept Think Twice alive a little bit longer. He had his ult charge, so he could have taken a step off the point and tried to use that. He switched to Reaper without actually using his ult that was full.
Yeah, but Labour buys a ton of time on this point. And I don't think it's going to matter, but he did it.
Blue Shooter Die rushing in, taking people down, but he's away from the cart.
That was a bad shot of Shooter Die. And took about a minute, but that is a clean cap coming out of Sadistic Autistic.
Very fast pushes. They never really had to stop.
No, once they got that first once they kept the first point, they just took off. Excellent cart management there, and an awesome game out of Tree. Dude, this ult near the end, this was where I thought the game was over. He just fucks everyone up within that Graviton.
And that was a really premature Mercy ult to save people in the Graviton Surge. You gotta wait a little bit longer to really make that effective.
Yeah, speaking of Mercy, a lot of her so far today in the Batty Overwatch League. I've seen a few people saying that she's kind of making a comeback on this patch. I hope that's the case, obviously, as a Mercy aficionado.
Yeah, she's seen a lot of buffs. Lucio might not be played as much. He's still being played, as we've seen both this game, or this match and the previous one, even though his AoE healing has been nerfed. So
yeah,
some people didn't get touched, some people got touched a lot with this patch.
Personally glad to see those Lucio nerfs. I mean, it's no fun to see anyone in this game. I think it was like a 96% pick rate in high elo. I'm assuming he's still going to be very, very viable, but you know, any change is going to be a nerf when you're talking a 90-something% pick rate beforehand.
Yeah, I think this is the third consecutive nerf he's received, including the nerfs personally and the overall alt nerf and healing nerf. So he just has to find a perfect place in all tiers, our baddie tier included. But we see Tree coming out again on the Reinhardt. That worked really well last time. Ball of Sexy is switching off the Zarya for the Roadhog. Other than that, we'll see some more salvo on Widowmaker and Thrifty playing his favorite Mai. We don't have the same defense coming out at all, actually. There's no Torbjorn as we previously saw. We'll see how the Widowmaker works on defense and how long Salvo can survive there. He's way back in the map.
Yeah, there's going to be some crazy pick potential coming out of Sadistic Autistic with the Mei and the Widowmaker. These squishies on April Wizards are going to have to be super careful about where they push.
And there's actually 3 tank comp coming out of Sadistic Autistic, or sorry, April Wizards, with 2 damage dealers and a healer.
And Taco's Go Boom just immediately jumps that point. Look at how much better. He drops almost the entirety of Sadistic Autistic away from the point.
And 2 people are already down. That was very fast. I'm surprised we're seeing a charge come out of Sadistic Autistic.
Come here and get stabilized.
Yeah, April Wizards looked like a good start, but not gonna get the capitalize there.
Sorry, yes, that was the April Wizards charging, not the Sadistic Autistic.
It's okay. I think everyone watching this league understands we're gonna do that a few times.
Yeah. The color switch, the hero switch, lot of But yeah, a really good defense for the first push. I think if a team has a really good first defense, that actually can speak volumes for how well the entire map will go.
Yeah, because it typically translates into an ult advantage immediately, but here we go. Chromatic gets hit with the hook, taking a lot of damage. He's trying to get a pick before he dies here, and he's actually going to get crystallized before going down. So a 5v5 here.
And everyone on Sadistic Autistic is really low. And just getting lower.
Really explosive. Labour is still at full health. He's put down a lot of DPS in that fight, and it's most of the April Wizards down. Sorry, most of the Sadistic Autistic down here.
Thrifty trying to waste as much time as possible and goes down. They're capping the point. They're not actually stepping on the point to try and stay alive a little bit longer. And no, they get taken down in the building next to the point.
Yeah, that was a nice push out of April Wizards there. And so far today, it's just looking like offense might be king so far. See if April Wizards can keep that going or not. And Tacos Go Boom, man, this guy is playing so deep into Winston. I am loving the way he turns up this zone. He gets Ice Block out of 50 on top of the building, and he's buying so much time for this guy to be pushed for free. Although Labour going to go down on the side of the fight. But
yeah,
the cart is still moving.
Waste a lot of damage and or time out of a damage dealer by being a tank and just being annoying, and allowing the rest of your team to push as 5, you just buy them so much time to just continue to push.
This is more than halfway to the second point without being contested at all. Now think twice looking for a really deep ult into McCree, and he's waiting about here we are. And there comes Doggo, really nice grab touch. He's not gonna lay down his, no sorry, that was Tree laying down his ult, and that is a fucking wipe.
Yeah, they take down both people that were in the ult, and with Valkyr going down already, who had his ult up, so if he could have ulted his Reinhardt to keep them alive a little bit longer, that would have been much more impressive, but he dropped. And Tree running in and gets dropped immediately. This is a cluster out of Sadistic Autistic. They're just being pushed back to their point as offense. April Wizards just continues to push down the middle.
Yeah, that was really weird out of, and it looks like 2K is going to drop in the Blizzard on the cart. Only gets Shooter Die who's able to almost charge out. But despite the Blizzard going down, it's April Wizards. They're going to get the first kill of this fight, and they're looking good so far. They picked up 3 already, Big Ben 4. Crystalline gets her guys hits a lot, but I don't know if it's enough. They're all so split here.
Yeah, that doesn't really seem to matter. It's almost a full wipe. They lost Zedicus, but they took down 3 more as people are coming back to the point.
There was an ult advantage for Sadistic Autistic going into that fight, and it didn't end up mattering. So that fight just gives a ton of ult charge over to the April Wizards, who are sitting on as they move this cart almost into the end. And there's a Graviton Surge that will stop anyone from contesting this cart.
However, Salvo rushing in on the D.Va to keep the cart from going anywhere. 4 people on April Wizards are on fire, so those ults are going to charge quickly. And they have 5.5 minutes to take it 6 to 10 meters, which will go really quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like they're still not done with this push either. They're buying so much time on this guy. There we go, Jedi with the big hammer down.
Salvo getting taken down, just beaten on by Shooter Die, who does not care, as he goes down, that D.Va had been ulted.
Yeah, Taco's going to
providing pressure in the back.
Oh, there's a nice self-destruct going in. Gonna get 2, and Salvo with the play to hold the point for now.
That was really perfectly timed as it exploded right when it came down from the garage. So taking down 2 extra people, just phenomenal. And they pushed. That's the first pushback we've seen out of Sadistic Autistic on this map.
Yeah, they're still looking at a long time, and they're not immediately contesting the cards. And they give up a good 7, 8, 9, 10 more meters. They're not on the cart. Shooter guys has shown so many members of this defense.
And those members are slowly going down on Sadistic Autistic. Oh, really good Lucio ult, but he's getting dropped.
Not enough.
1.65 meters to go. 0.9. And
there it is. That is such an embarrassing way to lose this game because Sadistic Autistic, they just didn't have anyone on the cart when the push came in, and they gave up, what, 15 of the remaining 20 meters for free.
Yeah.
And play of the game going over to Salvo on the D.Va. Probably this match that at least gave his team a chance to start a comeback. To watch this. This was
This was sexy. He takes down 1 on the way, shoots another, and takes down another with his mech. So 3 total in that play of the game getting dropped. And all of the cards going over to April Wizards. That's a little demoralizing.
Yeah, that would be more demoralizing if Sadistic Autistic hadn't won so handily on offense themselves.
Right.
These teams have both got to be feeling like they're in a weird place as we head on to Lijiang Tower. Because neither team really showed signs of life on defense. So now they're going to get a chance to play King of the Hill, where maybe they're going to be a little more evenly matched.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of strong pushes coming out of the offensive teams thus far. This most recent patch helping everyone just do more damage, apparently. Provide better pushes overall. So as we continue to look at the teams as this game gets started, Sadistic Autistic is in second place right now. With both teams going even on that first point, they can no longer catch up to Bone Zone after this week. But next week, if they do well for the rest of these maps, they'll be able to fight closely for second place or first place. The other teams, however, are securely looking at third and fourth so far, unless something turns around.
Yeah, it'll have been a very interesting first round robin after tonight. Obviously, all the teams will have played all the teams once. We'll finally be able to start drawing some conclusions for where these teams are at. But still a very long season. We're looking at, almost a month and a half until the playoffs begin.
A lot
We
could
have
change.
multiple holiday breaks. Yes, absolutely.
Because with 3 weeks off, effectively, or well, 2 weeks and then a couple weeks for Christmas and New Year's, that means there's a lot of time to get practice in. A lot of patches can happen then, and the game can change drastically in regards to these teams.
Yeah, it can. So going in here, nothing too crazy. Both teams running a pretty standard 2-2-2, it looks like. As it looks like April Wizards going to get the first take on the points.
Yeah, they're applying some pressure, pulling out the back left side as
Think Twice gets picked. That's wrong.
Pincer comes out of Sadistic Autistic.
Yeah, they're in a good position to execute on this pincer too. But they gotta get bodies on the point to do that. And there they go, they get the pick out of Zedicus, but both teams trading a healer.
Zedicus, Shooter Dyke, and Chromatic are down, whereas there's 4 on the opposite side for Sadistic Autistic, and
they've kind of zoned the survivors off of this point. He's just Think Twice, doing what he can to hold this point is Soldier 76. He's buying a lot of time, but it's not going to be enough, and that is a cap from Sadistic Autistic.
The Blavur now soloing the world as he's dancing around 4 members with his shield up and runs away, surviving to fight another day.
Yeah, that was a good retreat out of Labur.
Yeah, staying alive, like, you're just down for so long, running back to the point, even in a King of the Hill, staying alive is the best thing you can do.
Absolutely. And the other thing people don't realize, sometimes more important than the respawn time, is the ult charge you give up by taking damage.
Yeah.
Especially as a tank. Like, D.Va now has 600 health. That's a lot of charge to give over to the enemy team.
Yeah. And we have another full frontal assault with
Tree gets
Thrifty
picked here.
coming behind and has to race out. It looks like he was getting close to wanting to ult.
Oh, the self-destruct incentive by Labor picks up a 2K. This is a good pick off for the April Wizards who lose 1 but have 3 on the point they cap. Still
And they
sitting
take down
on 2
5.
ults.
Actually, they took down all of them because Tree is just coming back to the point now. So that was almost a team kill out of April Wizards.
Yeah, super, super clean. They didn't even have to use the high noon or the resurrection.
Yeah, those will be very important. And they're fighting pretty close to this exit point.
Yeah, this is kind of weird. Labor is very split from his team. But
maybe he's just trying to
D.Va.
distract them, provide some damage and overall annoyance so they don't run back to the point. I mean, an extra 10%.
Oh, the Graviton turns out of Salvo. The rocket for Rocket is 3. That is an instant 5K and a back down.
And a team kill.
You
Tacos
boys like
could not
Wombo.
ult. Wow.
That was just
awesome.
That was perfectly executed. It's like some of these guys used to play League of Legends.
Wait, you're telling me some of these people know how to work as a team?
I can tell you the 3 guys that just made that fight all played League of Legends. Wombo's the same in every game. That's what Overwatch has taught me. Oh,
And-
a nice hook out of Labur.
This is a really solid defense right now out of Sadistic Autistic. None of the people can get even close to this point. Chromatic ulting. And he gets no one, but they don't get enough damage to take.
Oh, there's a nice hammer out of Heater Dive. Now, Hero is a little late with the transcendence, trying to save what lives he can, but he's already lost 3 of his teammates. As the April Wizards are still sitting on 3 of their ults. And they're going to cap this
Crystallize.
point.
Crystallize almost dropped a beat, saving himself and another team member, but couldn't get it down in time and ended up losing the point by that hair of a second.
Yeah, now it's
delay.
the April Wizards that are sitting on 4 ults going into this next fight, although there are a few coming out of Sadistic Autistic. Tactical Visor popped kind of early by Think Twice, just creating some zoning on the side, but he falls off or gets knocked off. I'm pretty sure he got knocked off there.
Yeah, I think so. Breaking it down. A double. Oh no.
Oh, Rock,
Zedicus
this is
gets
looking
taken
so
down
good.
before
Oh,
he
it's sexy. Oh, but there's a huge resurrection.
And there's breaking it down a third call. This is a really chaotic fight. And there's 4 up on each side as they continue to just apply pressure.
Oh,
Thrifty's
Babur
ult
needs
gets
so
canceled
much
effectively.
of that. But Sadistic Autistic managed to find a retake, and there are not a lot of April Wizards around this point.
They have to
But it's looking like Chromatic and Labour have made it in time, so his tacos go boom. I was wrong, there are a lot of April Wizards, and the Grandmaster is only going to hit Labour. Hits Mercy through the wall, but that does not turn into a kill.
Tacos Go Boom does not have enough ult charge in order to ult to bring his team members back. And
Oh,
he
there's a
can take it down
hammer
himself.
down. No, Hero makes it, does not save Crystallize, but he's going to save everybody else. And that should be a hold, and it will be first point for Sadistic Autistic.
That was close, 94 to 99.
Score.
That was really good
2-1.
holding and attacks out of both teams, but it's micromanaging those team fights that ended up allowing Sadistic Autistic to pull ahead there at the end.
That last team fight was crazy.
Yeah. Two Lucio ults. He tried to, I think it was Zedicus tried to ult one time, got taken down, and then Tacos ulted him so he could ult effectively a second time around.
Toward the second half of that fight, Labour and Tree both trade 2 kills with their ults on the point, with the Diva and the Clara.
And then they hop back in their max to discount some of the damage coming out of the damage dealers. Thrifty had ulted as Reaper, and his ult effectively, half of it got blocked. And we've got both teams running into the point immediately.
Watch out, Tree's in a good position to get some damage down on the flank here.
Yeah, so
And he
Sadistic kind of retreats off of the point as they see April Wizards hasn't set up yet.
Not sure what happened to Tree there, if he got Zedicus or if he just fell to his death. But judging from the all chat, I think he just fucked up the 100 cow.
Resistance.
Super early tactical visor coming out here. Dramatic. And he's put down a ton of damage on this point. Looking like this is going to be a first cap of the game for the April Wizards.
And they take the point right before Farah drops in and drops pretty much immediately.
Yeah, that was just great timing for the April Wizards. They were able to think twice on the creek out there right as the tail end of that fight was happening. They were able to finish mopping up with his team. Chromatic with the super early ults.
And we see an ult. Thrifty's got his available, but they're all charging very quickly. Tacos is almost.
Gets picked.
Tacos is
Zedicus as well.
If he wants to ult bring back 2.
Yeah, he does not have long to think on this.
And he doesn't.
There comes TK50 going for kills on the flank. But looking
Zarya
like
ults 1 to retake the point. They take down Shooter Die, and that's enough for them to recap. Or
yeah, Sadistic Autistic looked a little surprised by how well that fight went for them.
Yeah. And Think Twice has got his ult up. He might have a difficult time trying to effectively ult because you have to stand in a very linear position to try and face the map. Unless they get a good push and hold from there.
Yeah, but man, we are really close to a 10 ult fight here. There we go, the engage coming out of the April Wizards. Chromatic dies without getting a chance to get his ult off. This is going to be really rough for the April Wizards. But it looks like they still want to commit to this fight. They gotta be careful with these ults. And Shooter Die gets picked on the end. He is not getting ult off either. And there's 3 big rocket barrage.
Very chaotic.
Comes out and tacos go boom. Currently a man advantage for the April Wizards. But point control looking like it's more in favor. No, this is close. It's looking like a take or retake out of the April Wizards. If they could just get this goddamn soldier.
For the longest time, the Zedicus and Valkyr were having a support battle for a good 10-15 seconds of that fight, trying to take each other down. And with the support of his other team members, they ended up taking down Valkyr, who had ulted miraculously to keep people alive in that last fight.
Yeah, that's not going to have time to break that one down because Chromatic once again gets picked at the start of this fight and have a selfless truck getting tossed in and just picks up Salvo.
Zedicus ulting, or not Zedicus, sorry, Crystallize ulting to try and keep some members healthy, and they almost get re-wiped after 2 or 3 ults.
Yeah, the push not over for Sadistic Autistic. They're rushing onto this point, but they are dropping faster than they are getting kills right now. And like it's gonna be a hold here for the April Wizards, but ooh, Chromatic is back. He's putting down some good damage. That could be the game switcher for his
And
team.
Taco's
Rez comes
ult
out.
won to bring Zedekis back. He's 95% of his way to his ult, and yep, that ends up doing it for April Wizards. They've got their own win on this King of the Hill 3 series.
Yeah, these teams just looking a lot better at King of the Hill. And to me, the fight that really defines that last game was the fight that led to the final take by the April Wizards. I was so impressed with their execution there. They lost Chromatic before he was able to get the Soldier ult off. Then immediately in the fight, Shooter dies before he drops the hammer. They still managed to win that fight, and Chromatic shows up at the tail end to clean up what remains. One of those fights that a lot of teams would call off, and it would probably be the right call to call off, but they just go in, out-execute their opposition, and they win the game off it.
Well, pretty confidently, the fact that Chromatic is probably the best player in the league, and he goes down and his team can hold for him.
I wouldn't have called that. And speaking of Chromatic getting picked, there he does it again, hooking him down.
Salvo rushing in behind enemy lines, providing a lot of pressure.
So Chromatic is going to be really close to this point. This is unlocked. I think April Wizards are going to fight this, but there's good point control coming out of this stuff. The Door is buying time with the Diva, but oh, that's 2 down immediately.
And Sadistic Autistic, or sorry, April Wizards just can't get close enough to the point without dying.
Got a few picks, but Chromatic is really lit here. And there we go, some nice shots out of the tree to finish off that fight. Capped by Sadistic.
That was a really good first cap and then defense of the point. Every time one of the April Wizards team members would get on the point, they just slowly got chunked down. I see a lot of really good focus coming out of the Sadistic Autistic team. Let's see if they can continue it for the rest of this match.
So, good hook. Man, I cannot believe how often April Wizards start fights with DPS getting picked, but it doesn't matter because BOL sexy gets picked off as well, surprisingly.
And we've got a lot of ults coming out of April Wizards. Blabur has his ready, Zedekis, Chromatic. There's the Lucio ult to keep people healthy, and they cap the point. They wiped 4 members of Sadistic Autistic.
That was a really interesting fight. I think Zedekis dropping the beat was the only ult that fight, and Blabur gets picked off going super deep there. So it's gonna be a
Sadistic Autistic was the only one that had ulted there.
Yeah, there are a lot of ults available and a few more close. Almost, yeah, we're going to be at 6 ult territory and 2% here from Sadistic Autistic. But 5 ults going to be available. And Zedekis goes down the only ult that was not available.
2 members dropped for April Wizards, as 3 members, as only Crystallize has gone down.
There comes the self-charge out of Blabur. Only going to pick up Tree in the air, though, and it's going to be a recap from Sadistic Autistic. And what an alpha fight. There were 11 ults available, and 4 of them didn't get popped.
Yeah, that's really surprising. And Chromatic getting taken down early away from the point. These hooks just keep coming out of Ball of Sexy, and taking down a damage dealer will just provide you so much time as the other team either has to push with 5 or wait. And waste a lot of time.
Think Twice goes deep. He gets those forces that raise on Think Twice. We really have to limit this up a flank. And Salvo goes down. Shooter dive with a nice hammer down. But there comes this chance. There's the Valkyrio just trying to buy time. But his team at man disadvantage right now. And Shooter Die is all up in their back line. He has zoned all of Sadistic Autistic off this point. Now there are only April Wizards on the point. As CK and Serpentine going full tilt, trying to buy time here, but he dies on the point. A retake from the April Wizards. And Salvo drops the hammer, but it's a little late. But it's turning into 3 kills and counting.
4.
Autistic. They give up the point just for the lulls, and they retake it.
Wow, we have multiple retakes like 10-15 seconds apart, and 95%, if they can keep people off, Chromatic runs in with the Tracer to try and delay this clock as much as possible to retake, and gets taken down.
Yeah, Tree with a nice Vibrance. Babua tossing in the Diva ult.
But he needs to get on the point, and that's the round.
Yeah, even if he had got on the point there, his entire team had just died.
Yeah.
There wasn't going to be any winning that game, barring a miracle.
Yeah, especially as D.Va outside of her mech.
And Tree, a lot of good candidates for play of the game in that series. Not surprised.
Is this the 4-man Czar?
Yeah, this the perfect wombo combo. Tree, Salvo, TK50, bringing those league team fight skills over into Overwatch as they drop all three of their ults together. And one of the cleanest wombo combos I have ever seen in Overwatch.
I'm gonna have to change my pants.
Epic.
Job well done.
That was awesome out of Sadistic Autistic. That was one of the best ults I've seen all of this baddie league.
Absolutely. And one guy I want to talk about that I feel like we didn't get a whole lot of time to talk about during the games, but Ball of Sexy was excellent as Roadhog. He's been excellent all night, but especially on Roadhog, I just cannot believe how many times he would find a hook onto a DPS or onto a healer. Just so many fights that his team was starting at man advantage because of him. And sure, April Wizards will sometimes win a 4v6 or a 5v6, but if you're starting with man advantage every fight, you're gonna win well over 50% of your fights.
Yeah, and it's getting those hooks on those heroes is just so effective, and they're not easy heroes to hit. A lot of the time that Reaper is getting hit who should be able to Wraith out, or someone who's a little bit faster like the Tracer. I didn't see any Tracer hooks, but just a lot of people that should be able to dodge those hooks that he's just hitting them dead on. So he's either timing it after they blow their escape, or he's just catching them by surprise, but always putting his team ahead.
And that surprise factor is such a big deal too, because it's not like he's just getting hooks on a Master Splinter who you would expect to get hit by everything. He's getting hooks on a Chromatic, the best player in the whole league.
Yeah. It's not easy, and to see that caliber play, it's just going to help his team continue to push through for the rest of the season. So now we're getting into Volskayas, the last map of the series. One of the, I think, most tilt-worthy maps. If a team loses the first point, they can actually lose the second point pretty much immediately, depending on when those deaths are staggered. So you have to very carefully provide a defense, or your team might not stand a chance at all. However, we have also seen that some teams can just defend this first point without a problem. And there's so many entry points that you have to be aware of. You can go around on the side for the people that can fly through, or a frontal assault, or just a bunch of heroes that can jump or fly going over the top. So we'll see what kind of defense these teams provide. It looks like we've got Sadistic Autistic on defense. They're running the somewhat standard Anna Reinhardt with Soldier with his buffs coming out. Mercy's pseudo buff, as some of the other supports are a little weaker, and Ball of Sexy back on the Roadhog, trying to grab some hooks.
I really like the Roadhog on defense on this map. There's just so many good angles he can find picks from.
Well, and his ult to just push people off the map, because it's just perfect line of sight. That if people are on the point, he just pushes them off and says, okay, see you later, take some damage, I'll catch you on next time. On offense, we've got 3 tanks again, 1 healer coming out of April Wizards. No Mai.
Yeah, a lot.
Let's suggest.
A lot of pressure on Zedekus. He could not afford to get picked at all as the only healer. And we were seeing him get picked a lot last game. And now Tacos go boom once again on this distance, going very deep. He is pulling all this up into the back, and there is the follow charge out of Shooter Guy. Gets a kill onto 3.
And Tacos actually survived pretty long there.
He put down a lot more damage than he had any business doing, and Crystallize gets picked as well. This is looking good for the April Wizards. That's 3 kills, I believe. And they have zoned the survivors a long way away. Oh, Zedekis.
Oh, sexy. That Zedekis pull.
Oh, that was so big. And there's a 2-man set on a big play.
And they're pushing them off the point quite effectively. As Tacos takes down, I don't know who it was, but somebody went down, and they're taking this point pretty easily.
Bought as much time as he could there and looked good, but April Wizards able to outplay in the skirmish there and cap this first point with 9 minutes to try to cap the second point.
Yeah, no one was even close to getting there for a retake. I don't know if they pulled back, which is probably a good idea if they take the first point that quickly, but we've got 3 ults up right now. Salvo's ult on, sorry, not McCree, Soldier, and then Shoot or Die with his ult, Blab with his ult as Soldier as well. So maybe see some ults come out of here. Otherwise, they're just charging them for the next big
Yeah,
team
Tacos
fight.
go boom. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Providing a lot of disruption.
Yeah, there comes
And
a
he's got
nice
his
sabotage
And he,
surge.
wrecking face in that back line.
Oh my god. Crystallize is 7% away from his resurrection, and that could decide this game here, as there
He
are
needs to
6
defend by
members on.
himself, and he can't. And that's the first round. That was fast.
Well, fortunately for Sadistic Autistic, there are no bonus points for winning fast here, but play of the game, gonna be Tacos Go Boom. I love this. He just created so much pressure as he
gets
sets up
ult here.
this huge sabotage, and wham! Look at that. Who says Winston can't be a Waffle champ?
Yeah. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Tacos. Just beating everyone in that Graviton Surge.
He was very good that game. He set up both of those pushes with his super deep engagements.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Those were 2 points that were capped on the first fight.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that was really impressive out at Tacos. That Winston just did so much for that April Wizards team, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see more out of that from him the rest of the season. But now we're switching it around.
Yeah, so Sadistic Autistic gonna have a chance to match here as we went straight back to where we were on Hollywood, where offense rules all.
Shoot or Die, locking in the Reinhardt, a mainstay for him. Tacos is running the Mercy. They're also running a double healer comp. On the opposite side, Sadistic Autistic, they're just running Lucio and Zenyatta, so also two. I didn't see the Zenyatta. 2 tanks, 2 damage, 2 healers, and yeah, I guess that's the standard again.
Yeah, nothing weird to start with.
Remember this moment. Remember this.
The good news is if they have 2 healers, they don't have to worry so much as one getting picked off without ulting. So it's a little bit safer, but as that last offense showed us, you can do a lot with a single healer.
It is time to act.
Yeah,
All that extra damage and tank.
you have less room for error when you're that single healer, but when it goes well, you have so much more damage than the other team. And we saw there was that one skirmish when the first point was at about halfway, when we saw Ball of Sexy go for a re-engage. It looked like they were going to turn that into a hold. But then there was just so much extra damage in that skirmish that broke out that April Wizards were able to keep their push going.
Right. It looks like the Sadistic Autistic is running around the right side, kind of trying to surprise this April Wizards team, and they don't seem to care at all.
Yeah, Ball of Sexy goes in real deep here, trying to create some pressure, but doesn't really get much going down. April Wizards kind of win this first round of the Poke War.
Yeah, this defensive hold out of April Wizards. Oh, Tree gets around. He's getting close to Tacos Go Boom. And they've got members behind them. Tree?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
playing the flanking Reinhardt.
He almost got that Mercy. I'm sure if he got that Mercy, that would have been a lot of pressure applied to this first point.
Yeah, this is turning into a really weird attempt to take out of Sadistic Autistic. They have a lot of members around this point, but so does Sadistic Autistic. They are going to resurrect out of Downhill River. Do watch it up. It looks like they're probably not going to need it here.
And it's a really good hold coming out of April Wizards. They've got people skating around the point, looking at you, Lucio, but overall, not a cap and not a piece of the pie. So Sadistic Autistic has to re-stabilize and provide a front line again as they fall back to the first chokehold.
Yeah, a lot of ults available going into this next night. We're sitting at 4 going on 5 for both of these teams. And Chromatic going to be the first pick of the fight, and that's going to be all this squad doesn't need to see. If they get time to remove, they get Scooter die. They are rushing out at this point. Labour tries to make a play with the self-destruct, but it only gets TK50 on the soldier. But Salvo going to go down as well, so it's both TPS down for Sadistic Autistic. I don't think it's going to matter, though, if they have 3 on this point and good zoning line set up here.
Yeah, Ball Sexy knocks D.Va out of her mech, so she can't even provide some defensive pressure on the point just to survive a little longer. And they're pushing forward, but this should be a cap out of, yeah, it's a cap out of Sadistic Autistic. Labour in the back line, I'm not sure what he's going to be doing. Unless he's just going to jump off. Yeah, he suicides to try and get back to the point quickly.
Yeah, Tree gets a kill on the Tacos Go Boom there. That was a decent man advance for Sadistic Autistic, but they don't seem to want to go crazy on the push here.
And think twice, wasted a lot of time, survived very long.
Oh, Salvo with a nice dragon, and there's the Graviton Surge. Gonna suck Chromatic into the dragon. Now Furior is going to pop his ult, and there comes the res out of Tacos
Really
Go
good
Boom.
res. A lot of damage coming out of Sadistic Autistic. 4 people down again. Only Zedicus and Chromatic was down. Zedicus has to hold against 4. And that might be the point. Unless Labour can get to... No.
Oh, Tree!
Oh, Tree! He drags Labour off the edge and knocks the Mercy out of the way.
And what a crazy night. Neither of these teams had any idea how to play defense. And it ends up being a really even night, with total points going to be 40-30, with Sadistic Autistic pulling ahead slightly.
That was a lifesaver play of the game. I don't know whose life he saved, if it was the shield he provided, but them just providing pressure on that attack that they ended up winning.
That is going to be Sadistic Autistic with the win on the night. And so once again, that'll be 40 points for Sadistic Autistic, 30 for the April Wizards tonight. And that's going
Really
to
good
close
games.
things out here for Week 3 of the Baddie Overwatch League, concluding the second round robin of the first round robin of our season. So for those of you that were unaware, next week, Wednesday the 23rd, we will not be holding a game. That's the day before Thanksgiving, and we know a lot of people in this league travel for the holidays and whatnot. So it'll be 2 weeks until we see you guys again. That'll be Wednesday, November 30th, when Sombra will be turned on. And we will begin the second round robin between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of this whole casting Overwatch thing. It's really fucking hard. So, if you've been bearing with me in Destiny, we really appreciate it, guys. We'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great night.
Fuck you, don't have a good night. I hate you all. Don't watch this shitty stream.
Fuck that.